This is All of It on WNYC. I'm Allison Stewart. Thank you for sharing part of your day with us. Many of you have come to love actor Lisa Ann Walter for her role on Abbot Elementary. She plays Melissa, the kind of woman who knows a guy. She got her start in stand-up comedy years ago, before breaking into film and TV. Now she returns to the stage in a new special titled It Was an Accident. Lisa can, and definitely does get political. In the special, she doesn't shy away from cracking a joke or two about the decline of American democracy, referencing The Handmaid's Tale, talking about raising 4 kids with 2 ex-husbands, and she also shares a few relatable stories about coming up as a Gen X woman. It Was an Accident is streaming on Hulu and Disney+. When Lisa Ann Walters joined us in May to talk about it, as well as her role in the off-Broadway run of Heathers the Musical, and her co-hosting of the Met Gala counter-event called Ball Without Billionaires, I started by asking her why she felt like this was the right time for her to do a special.
Honestly, I came to New York to be an actor. I went to Catholic University. I studied the Greeks and Shakespeare. I knew what I was doing. I did off-Broadway shows, but something else that I did very well, come to find out, was get pregnant, which I did pretty much right after graduating college. I had a child, and I had some friends that I had graduated that were in my BFA program. Everybody was in New York, and they said, they dared me. It was the height of the comedy boom in the 80s, and they said, of all of us, you should be doing this. And there were so many things going on that I never heard women talk about. Because remember, back in the day, there were like, there were 6 female comics. Yeah. 3 of them you saw maybe on The Tonight Show or Hollywood Squares. And the rest
Mike
of
Douglas.
them. Yeah, the rest of them worked blue and you never saw them. You never saw Moms Mabley. Yeah. You saw Joan Rivers, Phyllis Diller, 1 or 2 others. And I just got tired of hearing male comics talk about. I remember Bill Cosby had a 15-minute hunk on childbirth. Yeah. And I'm like, why is he telling our story? Yeah. Why are there not women talking about this? So I said, yeah, I could do that. I had an hour and 15 minutes before I ever got on stage the first time on this dare that my friends gave me. And we were supposed to do 3 minutes. I did 15.
How'd you feel about your friends daring you to do that?
You know, it's the same reason why I do game shows. I'm competitive. I like a challenge. I didn't love it on the day I was supposed to go do it. I was terrified. I think I went to the bathroom 8,000 times. But then when I did it and killed, I was like, this is good. Yeah. Because there's nothing like getting people to laugh. It's the reason I wanted to get on stage in the first place, was to make people feel, laugh, cry, change their minds. Yeah. And it turns out when you're funny, it's a easier job.
It's interesting. People sometimes describe your comedy. I saw the special last night. It's
thank
funny.
You. Oh, thank you.
Yeah, but you're really honest in it. Yes. You're very unfiltered.
I'm authentic.
In it. Were you always that way, or did you have to kind of work up to that?
No, you know what, Allison? I was. You know how female rage is like a thing now? Yeah. Like we see it on the internet. And we're like, yeah, about time, right? I was doing this way back before it was popular. I was, I think always have been women that have been truth tellers that are just like, I've had it with your nonsense. Mm-hmm. I've got 0 F's left. I was that as a kid. I think there were things that made innate sense to me and things that seemed unfair. And I just liked calling stuff out as was true. Just back historically, they used to burn those women as witches. Yeah. And now we just call them female comics and they pay us money to get a Hulu special, I guess. I'm like an auntie, just cranky advice.
Oh, but it's good advice, though.
It is. It's so
That's
good.
The best advice. Your auntie advice.
Yes.
Come on now.
Yes.
You touch on politics in the special. You say there are whole portions of the country you just said, nope, not going there.
Tara, I used to do it when I was doing stand-up as a young woman, with a baby going around the country. That was I paid my rent doing stand-up. And there were places I had to go to. The only place I was afraid, I did a pro-choice bit back then. The only place I was really afraid to do it was Indiana. And it didn't even occur to me until after I had done it the first time. And then I was like, this is...
maybe not.
But it was still, in those days, less of a thing to speak your mind than it is now. Well, and you were on your way to a question. I stopped you.
No, that's okay.
Sorry.
That's all cool. We're having a conversation.
Fabulous.
What do you think is something in our society, in our culture right now, that really deserves a satirical look?
I mean, God, all of it. The First Amendment is something that we should all be really vigorously supporting and defending. People that are in your position, people that are in the press, people that are doing late night comedy shows. Since the dawn of time, the jesters have been the ones that were allowed to say what the king was doing.
Right, the truth tellers.
Say that the emperor had no clothes. So I think if we lose that, our ability to allow that to happen, what kind of culture do we have? We've lost our civilization, really. So that's a big one. I mean, the thing is that with comedy, you can hold the mirror up to nature and people can look at stuff, but because it's funny, nobody's getting yelled at. I think I touch on stuff in my act that has to do with what we're all feeling without calling out individual. Well, maybe there's one individual I call out, but you all have to watch the special. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Oh, yes.
So dumb. They're so dumb that. But you'll have to watch a special to figure that out.
Have you noticed that audiences have become more politically sensitive? Are they less politically sensitive? I'm curious what you found.
There's some polarization going on, but you know what's wild is that, first of all, I recognize the fact, and you had a question a while ago. This is my ADHD brain. I have to button something, or I can't go forward. But you asked me like, why now? Well, the truth is, when I had my stand-up at an hour and a half tight, and I was plucked out of stand-up world to go create and star in my own sitcom, which they used to do. They used to hand them out like Tic Tacs back then. Not true. I was very lucky, and I had a lot of people, because I was a female comic, still in those days, not a lot of us. Certainly not a lot with children, because there were not a lot of men that were happy to help raise kids while the woman went out every night and, hung out with drunks. Basically, I had a very wonderful partner. It just turned out we had too much in common. He also liked men. But
bump. But you
Thank you.
know what's interesting? Because when I first got this job, my boss is a woman.
Yeah.
And said to the people who were working on the team, like, we have to support this woman who is a child doing this job because it's 2 hours a day live, and women didn't get these jobs.
That's correct.
Because you had kids to take care of.
That's
and all
right.
blah, 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 blah.
Right.
And I felt so welcome in that moment.
Yeah.
That somebody saw that.
Yes. We love that word now, but it's facts.
Continue on with
exactly.
Your ADHD
so anyway,
brain.
I appreciate you. I went out to California to create and star in a show, the job that my boss, Quinta Brunson, is doing now. It's a big gig because when you're not actively in the writer's room or on stage, you are publicizing the show, you're promoting, you're flying to New York, you're going all over the country to do that. And I did not do the stand-up as much as I should have. Whoopi Goldberg was telling the people at HBO, this girl should have a special. Like, she was telling them, she's strong, she's badass, you should be doing a special with her. And I just kind of went, like I should have went, yeah, I should do a special. But I didn't know then, like, here's your shot, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of years went through, and then Abbott comes along, and I'm headlining all over the country. And so Hulu said, yeah, Disney family, let's go. Let's make this happen.
It's interesting. You do a lot of crowd work.
I do.
In the special. How do you know when it's time to get back on your well-crafted jokes?
Well, there's a couple of things going on. I mean, first of all, there are comics that are like, I formulated my hour. My hour is set. I'm proud of it. Crowd work is leaning on something. My crowd work is purposeful. There's a means to an end. I'm really good. Part of that is the ADHD. Part of the other is trauma kid. So you learn to figure out who people are and feel them before they even open their mouth. But I am really good at finding the people that are going to feed me what I need to move to the thing I want to do anyway. So that's part of it. But the other thing, if I'm being honest, the reason I did it in a club, Helium Club in Philly, first of all, Philly, because they love me. I've never had a bad show there. I mean, once they decide they like you, forget about it. You're it.
You're in.
They keep bringing me food, though. They got to stop. I'm like up 2 sizes. But that was part of it. The other part is I wanted to do a small room that was intimate. I love a big theater. I love those theater shows where comics go in and they just crazy screaming. But it's not the same as doing a comedy show like you're used to seeing it, where you're in a room. The thing that I wanted to throw back to from how I came up, which is I'm on a stage and right in front of me is the first row. And the laughs travel. It's science. The laughs travel from the front of the room to the back. There's no waiting for the laugh. You can gauge it. You could feel it when it's slowing down and when you can hit your tag and the next thing is going to pop. So that was the experience that I wanted for my audience and for the home viewing audience to have, was like you're in the room with the wait staff and everything else. And the picking of the people, just because I think a lot of people see me and they already feel like I'm familiar. They feel like they know me. A lot of them grew up watching me from The Parent Trap or whatever, and they feel safe and homey. I'm like your cranky aunt who's giving you advice. And that feeling of we're just folks talking, that's what I like to carry in my shows.
When you're thinking about what comics have available to them now, you know, whether it's social media, whether it's YouTube, what are you not jealous of, but what do you think, man, I could have really used that in my career?
Wow, that's a really good question. I could have used post Me Too. That's what I could have used. I was on the road at a time. I was just bringing this up with some people last night that were at my premiere party. I remember going to a gig, and I used to wear a skirt and hose and high heels and a little jacket. And I remember the club owners in New York, one of them who was very good to me, and that was my home club, the Comic Strip. And Lucian would say to me, you can't dress like that. They won't listen to you. And I said, no, sexy is part of the power package. It's probably a big reason why I got an offer to star in my own show, because I wasn't hiding it. I was like, you don't get to take that from me. This is part of who I am. Yeah. And I purposefully would disarm the women first by saying, I'm one of you. But then I would get the men immediately. And they're like, oh, she's a female comic I can like. Clearly she can get laid. So there's not that dynamic going on. And golly, I strayed too far away.
But you said you were there before Me Too.
Yes.
But Me Too came into the picture?
So because I was sexy, I would oftentimes go to gigs. First of all the comics would hit on you, whether you were sexy or not. It was, if you were a girl and you were on the road, they were trying to make you. Yep. And the club owners were, and the bookers were. And it was a very difficult, as many businesses were. If you did, you're loose. And if you didn't, you wouldn't get rebooked. Wow. Right? So it was a tough time. I had a gig out in Long Island. I remember being in a coat room where they would give you cash. I had 2 babies at home. I was like buying milk money. A lot of times I wasn't even taking the $26 motel because I wanted to drive home and save the money because we had rent, right? So he's holding the money out. And the next thing I know, I got a hand up my dress and another hand down my shirt. And I'm thinking, where'd the money go? Yeah. Like it was just there.
Wow.
But that was prolific in those days. Yeah. And there was no place to say anything. So now I look online and I see, I don't know that anything's changed that much. Maybe the outright grabbing is slightly less.
But you have a way to talk about it, though.
You have a way to talk about it.
Right?
You
directly
can tell
to people.
Other women, hey, by the way, this is going on.
Yeah.
Maybe stay away from this guy.
Let me ask you about Heathers the Musical. That's exciting.
That's a segue.
Yeah. Woo, here we go. We're going to run out of time.
Sexual assault.
Moving on.
Yeah.
We got 3 minutes.
What? It's very dark.
It is. I've seen it. It's dark.
It's dark. I have my best girlfriend, Elaine Hendricks, who was the mean girl in The Parent Trap. She comes to see it, and I get the story afterwards that she's talking to her friend who's like a musical theater guy, all the way through going, are they going to kill that girl? Like, had no idea what was coming. And I was like, yes.
What do you like about being on the stage in that?
Well, as I said, I started in theater.
Yeah.
So it has been 3 decades. And the first jobs I did when I came to New York was off Broadway. So just being back on stage doing a piece that's not just me talking, although I get a piece of that in the middle of the show. Yeah. I get an improv bit. So I get a little piece of being who I am and never knowing what I'm going to say. And neither does, I live to make them laugh. If I can make those kids who are insanely talented, like they popped out of the womb taking voice lessons. If I can make those shoulders do church giggles behind me, my day is a success. So it's great. I just like being back on stage, making people laugh and feel.
That was my conversation with Abbott Elementary actor Lisa Ann Walter. Her comedy special, It Was an Accident, is available on Hulu and Disney+. On the way, Daily Show comedian Josh Johnson will talk about his new HBO special called Symphony. This is all of it.